Hello, my name is Stacey Hyde, and I'm back with another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 minutes or less. And what I'd like to talk about today is money. We kind of always think of it as being about math, and some people are like, oh, I'm bad at math, I'm bad with money. But that's really not what money is. Money is actually all about your feelings. And why do I say that? Think about how you feel when you have more money than you expected versus less, or when you have an unexpected repair bill. It causes all sorts of emotions to go on. It also, if you're married or share finances with somebody, it's also why the credit card bill can cause all sorts of havoc in a relationship, because it's about feelings. It's what that money represents. And so what I want to talk about today is, why is it so hard for us to talk about it? Somebody that I follow a lot and really respect, he's actually my coach, says that talking about money to some people is like grabbing hold of an electric fence, and it is to be avoided. That's actually not true. And so what you want to understand is talking about money can be very difficult, but once you understand what you're doing and understand about the feelings and try to tamp down the emotions, then it makes more sense. Because if money was all about math, then where does greed fit in? Where does fear put in? Where does the desire to help your kids fit in? It is about those feelings. And so what I would ask you to do is to think about it through that lens. And when it's fun for me as a financial planner and somebody who gives advice in this area, is to work with couples that may be sort of at loggerheads over their financial situation. And it can be a lot of stress, especially if one partner feels like they're working a lot and they're doing everything we can, and they feel like the other partner maybe is spending too much money and not paying attention or respecting what's going on. And then the other can be also true. The partner who is making more money may also feel like, well, I'm making all this money, I'm just going to spend all this, and that's causing the other partner to be very uncomfortable and unsettled, and it can cause all sorts of issues in the relationship. But what's interesting or fun for me is when they kind of decide that they care more about each other than being right. They care more about understanding than being understood, and so they resolve to work through those issues, and they sit down and they get on the same page and they say, okay, all we know is we don't want to live like this anymore. And so what we'd like to do is to not have these money worries. And what's important to us is to be free of money worries, and maybe it's to take a trip here or to do this. And they resolve together to do what they need to do to get them on better footing. It may be that one of them picks up an extra job. It could be that they take the credit card and put it in a big Tupperware, fill it with water, and stick it in the freezer. It could be that they don't renew their Amazon Prime and delete the app from their phone, their tablet, their computer, and say, we're not going to do, Amazon is taking up too much of our budget, and that's where we're going to cut. It depends on the people. When our kids were little, Target was a problem. They really knew how to merchandise, and I spent way too much money in there, and we had to kind of rein that in. But so it's easier said than done, but I think once you start making progress, what's fun about it is that success and that sense of accomplishment and that burden that you feel like you're walking around on your shoulders. As it starts to get lighter and lifted, you start to feel better. You start to appreciate your partner more. You start to feel more comfortable, and like there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it is going to be okay, and I am going to get to take that vacation. And so as you build on this, there's no magic bullet. It's kind of like diet and exercise to be healthy. You have to decide to do it, and then you have to make it part of your lifestyle. And as you do that, and as you stop kind of being at fighting against each other and working together, you start to see real progress, and then you start having fun again. Life gets easier. And that really is the key. Yes, there's math to it. I'm not going to kid you. You have to spend less than you make, and you have to put some aside for a rainy day. But it is very, very evident to me that the more people really focus on living within their means, setting some money aside for a rainy day, the less emergencies they have, mostly because they take care of the small stuff before it becomes big stuff. And so I think that's really the key there, is to get on the same page that it's not going to be all one person's fault in almost all cases. I mean, there could be something that somebody just has some issues. But talk to somebody, whether it's a planner, whether it's a counselor, maybe it's somebody at your church. A lot of churches put on Financial Peace University. That's a great place to start, and really work together. And it's one step at a time, and you will come out on the other side of it feeling much better. And then the feelings that you have around money are more security based and more comfortable. And they did a survey of retirees, and what they found was that financial plans were the most important plans for retirement. And I think because that is if you're worried about money, everything else gets magnified. But if you know that, we can pay our bills, we can do what we need to do, we can help our kids, then everything else feels remarkably easier. And it's going to be difficult right now because the cost of things have gone up a lot. We've really seen a lot of inflation. But if you work with your partner to problem solve and find ways around it, maybe changing grocery stores, maybe buying your gas at a different spot, things like that can really help you. So unfortunately, there is no magic bullet. It is about doing the small things, because the small things will add up over time. And you just have to keep on keeping on and seek to understand. And then eventually you will also be understood, we hope, but you will also learn something and have more compassion, and it should help you understand the feelings that the other people have, because money is mostly about feelings and a little bit about math. Thanks for tuning in. This has been another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 minutes or less.